the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Greenbrier picks, preview, one and dones, and recap of last week. First thing I want to get into is let everyone know, give the episode a like because it is contingent with some more DK Bucks I'm giving away. Your DK Bucks winners in your account should already be credited. We got ARIX19, Get Off My Face, Slurp Dog 69, and Nathan 8766. All four of you have an extra 20 DK Bucks if you want to enter the Millionaire Maker, put 4 lineups into the $5 this week. You can all go do it, but those were not the only winners because some people won large sums of money this week. And Geoff Fienberg, with 3 winners in a row, must have is your cash out button getting a bit,
It's good.
Are you just lingering over it being like,
no,
do
it's
I want to
good.
do it now?
No, cashing out, staring at that open championship board. Successful soccer week. So it was good.
So before we get to the giveaways, actually, I might as well tell you what the giveaway this is this week. So in the comment section, and you can do this both on iTunes and you can do it on the YouTube page. Leave your DraftKings handle, give the episode a like, and if you rate it, please give it 5 stars. That would go a long way. But what you need to do is give me your favorite bet in between 30 to 1 and 60 to 1 this week. Because this board is real strange. And that whole area is very cluttered with a lot of names that people generally like, but the odds seem a bit high or too low on some. So your favorite play between 30 and 60 to 1, put in there, then you get into the draw, and potentially you too could win some DK Bucks. Molinari, the big winner. Molinari's win led to a industry-wide victory for a lot of people.
It seemed that way. And I don't know. Usually the dots don't play out on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They don't usually play out on Sunday like everything says it would. But it kind of did that week for everybody. He seemed highly touted. He seemed like a player to build, not only make bets with, but to build your DK lineups with. I successfully cashed many of profitable 5 for 6 lineups because of him.
Yeah, you probably had 5. I mean, I had 30% Molinari, 25, 30% Molinari on DK, and I should have done better. I had Molinari armor lineups, and it was just
that's probably Siwoo. Well, I don't know.
But I didn't have
I don't know. I did.
People go crazy with Siwoo. I like Siwoo. I bet him every single week. As I always say, he's a much better bet than DK
I don't know why.
And people are like, you told me to take 75% Siwoo. It's like, I don't recall saying that.
Never, but it did feel like this week was a good week with his price, and he's been much better, I want to say, in his cuts made percentage. Usually what happened on Friday doesn't happen till later, but to go back to it, Molinari, the stats are just mind-boggling. Maybe Webb at the players, but I usually like to look at the stats after the week, Pat, and I was just blown away. He made, I think, 2 bogeys the entire week. Number 1, tee to green. Number 1, scrambling. Did he even scramble?
No, not really.
He was on every green.
Yeah, he was 100% scrambling because he was 3 of 3 in scrambling.
Yeah. So, just phenomenal play, and the putter wasn't even... Going into yesterday, he was 45th in the field in strokes gained putting, being first in all the other important categories. And after yesterday, he was 24th. He made some incredible putts yesterday, and it turned into a gong show. I don't think there's been a stress-free Sunday like that on tour. I mean, I feel like even Webb had, we had a hiccup moment, maybe a moment of nerviness. And then he made an incredible bunker eagle chip in, I want to say, on the back 9. But Molinari, it almost feels like from that birdie on 2, there was no one that scared you. I mean, if Tiger, kind of his name, and
yeah, like I was telling you, I jumped in on Burgoon at 200 to 1 and Blom at 150 to 1 before the day because I was under the impression that someone's going to go low today, and whoever goes low is going to be the guy that wins, and they'll be able to pass the leaders. Turns out the guy that went low was the guy already in the lead.
And I was very certain one thing was going to happen. I wasn't 100% certain Molinari was going to win on Sunday, but I was certain he wasn't going to gas can
Yeah,
himself.
pencil him in for a 68.
Somebody might have stolen it from him in a Streelman-esque heater fashion.
Or a lot like what happened to Casey at the Travelers. Like Casey didn't play like poorly on Sunday.
You cannot not make any like you can't be shooting even par going into 13 on Sunday at the Travelers.
Sure,
you put yourself in a horrible position with all the history.
But it's not like he's shooting 78. He shoots 70.
Yes,
someone goes and
you're
shoots
right,
62
you're
and
right.
beats him.
Fine, but yes, and in the end, Casey completely melted down, so it just didn't even feel like anything other than Bubba winning. But I was extremely confident Molinari wasn't going to gas can his way out of anything, especially without feeling the heat of that leaderboard. And so much was made of him just being here, not being in Paris. I mean, we spoke about it.
We
but
spoke
the
about it.
telecast went nuts about it. Like
we said it on this show last week.
Yeah.
It's like, well, people are like, oh, Molinari not even going to be playing over in France. Like, yeah, because he took a look at this stupid field and said, I can win $1.5 million. That'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And the FedEx Cup points was more of a thing for him, more so than Ryder Cup points.
And people keep talking about like, oh, he's not going to get enough Ryder Cup points because he's going to play. If he is not on the team at this point, and he's not right now in terms of total points, he's won at Wentworth. He won this one. He's on the team.
He's on the team. He strikes you as an incredible player that won't lose any match. Someone would have to take him down.
He's a good back-end guy. Like, when you look at the back end of your Ryder Cup team, you can have these solid guys like Molinari, who's not going to put himself into too many problems. Like, I doubt in a head-to-head that Molinari is going to go out there and make 9 birdies, kind of like he did yesterday. So, if you had someone like, I don't know, like Xander Schauffele on the American Ryder Cup team. I mean, he's not going to be on the American Ryder Cup team, but if he was...
Finau might.
Like, Finau's someone who...
Finau's on the edge of points
Finau
of his high finishes.
Is someone that can go out and just storm the course and blow you out and win by 6. Yeah. But the most of the time, Molinari is 70 on a par 72 is going to win.
Or it's like that Thomas Peters who went nuts last time, but he also has just the flip of a coin. It can go the other way.
He took an 11 in France.
But yeah, Molinari's in this weird spot that you mentioned to me that he's sort of in a no man's land. He's on the team. There's no doubt about it, whether it be he makes it on points. But he's in this no man's land of not having enough European points or world points. But, just because how the Ryder Cup team in Europe is situated. But it feels... I know it's easy to get excited after seeing these Europeans rise and it's Americans winning the majors, but the back end of Team Europe just feels nicer. It's not Willett. It's not Fitzpatrick this time around.
Bearoff will try his best to write in Fitzpatrick, I think.
He's not. It's just not happening. It's like Molinari. I mean, you just look at the names that weren't on the last Ryder Cup team for Europe that will be on this one. It's pretty exciting.
So right now, Molinari is on point.
Sure.
In on points right now.
Because
Because
that Wentworth win is insane.
Yeah,
points.
but I thought it might get divvied up a little bit differently. Noren's not even in on points for the world points.
Well, someone better hope he makes it on points because he could even steal Poulter's captain's
He is.
pick.
He's actually second in world points. So right now it's Rahm, Noren, Rory, Casey for world points.
And they changed the rules so Casey can be on it this time.
European. God, let me finish this stuff.
Sorry.
Hatton, Rose, Fleetwood, and Molinari. So those are the 8 that are permanently qualified right now. In terms of points, that could change, obviously.
Sergio Locke.
Sergio will be on the team. Keimer says that he should just be on the team.
Keimer.
He said, I don't need to prove anything. I should be on this team.
He's not Poulter, but I don't think
he's in the same category in Poulter. Poulter's obviously
who would you rather have?
I'd rather have Poulter right now, but would it shock you if Keimer won the British Open?
No, Keimer winning would never shock me.
So if that happens, then he's back in the mix, or he just runs off a good string of good performances.
You're talking about Poulter is in the mix. You're talking about Keimer having to do something he hasn't done in 3 years to get in the
but
mix.
That's classic Keimer.
I can't take away. That is 100% true.
And then you got others like Olesen, Rafa Cabrera Bello that are right on the periphery. Did I say Stenson was qualified? I feel like he should be. Stenson's not qualified for the team yet. He's on the team.
Which is crazy because I don't think he's finished outside of 25th place in any event since Bay Hill.
Well, then you got to start winning some of these things. All these other guys have won tournaments.
That's going to be that course, that finishing stretch of holes.
I loved 18. 18 is so nice.
I want to say this. In Ryder Cup years, it might be my third favorite. No, because it's always Masters for me. Then the 2 Opens are kind of like always tied, although I like the early mornings that the British one offers.
I still like the Heritage the best.
And I
love the Heritage.
I know I'm unfair to the PGA Championship because the field is so strong and it is really great. And last year they had that Ric Flair promo, which made me think it was the greatest tournament ever. But the Ryder Cup, I have more excitement for than the PGA Championship, other than Ricky's going to win it.
Maybe. We'll see about that. See if Ricky can win.
And just in final, congratulations to the Leone and Molinari families.
Yes. I actually do have some big congratulations to give out to a lot of people here. Because, and listen, Mike came on the show last week. I gave him the debate, Molinari versus Stanley. He made a better argument. And if you went to my cheat sheet, I didn't have Stanley. I had Molinari, so that was I didn't bet him though, like you did, and a lot of people did. I had to grease my winnings last week through the back door. Russell Knox T5 over in France. Ryan Armour 33-1 each way.
That diabolical 18th in France made you some money.
He missed an 8-foot putt on 18. He would have been in the playoff.
Incredible.
So those each ways really came through. And Armour top 20 at 5-1. I had a big piece on, and he came second. So that was nice. So there's 2 ways to go about it. The sexy way of just hitting winners week after week like you, or greasy long shots like me. But here's some other people who just stormed it. Dub JK2 took home over 6K on just a Molinari bet. At Punter US hit a Noren Molinari double. He bet $3.98, and he turned that into $1,269. That's a great one. Gup, Fantasy National member Gup, gupscorner.com, Smash Factor Podcast, will be on the Pat Mayo Experience tomorrow to break down the DK field. Just had another gigantic week. Masters, millionaire maker winner Drew Matthews of the fantasygolfbag.com, Fantasy National member, won like hundreds, or he didn't win hundreds of thousands this time, or he won tens of thousands of dollars. Got a World Cup or World Fantasy Golf World Championship ticket. The 3rd Fantasy Golf World Championship ticket went to Toe Tag and Tambo, Fantasy Guru Elite.
What else is new?
He's having a fire year from Nova Scotia as well. So shout out to the Nova Scotians out there. And some other guys. Ryan Dove won a $555 British Open ticket. John Munster churned out a solid ROI. Another Fantasy National member, Nikki Rosenthal, won 10K he won the 10K dog leg. That was good for $2,000. Andrew Lewis put in $65, played 3 lineups, got $6,500 back. That's a good week.
Incredible.
Whittled everything down to 3 lineups. And I would encourage everyone. I did a show last Friday with CJ Bedford, who's had a score of $35,000, $50,000, and $10,000 so far this year. He walks me through his process, where he researches, what he looks for, how he builds his lineups, how he puts his tournaments in. That's up on my iTunes feed right now. It's up on the DK YouTube channel with visuals as well. I'd recommend everyone go check out that video. And it's not that you have to follow everything that he does, but
you learn something.
You learn something from it. Like, I learned a lot from, like, hey, especially when it came down to like whittling down his score. He told me, if I play 20 lineups, I might have 13 to 17 people in them. He's like, I'm going to go all in, or I'm going to go all in. Because if I hit, I want to win. That's the strategy that's been working out for it. He's not afraid to lose. By not being afraid to lose when he hits, he's hitting gigantic. Some other ones. FI Money 11 won $1,250. And then the Molinari big ones. Robbie Bro won $6,800 on a $400 wager on Francesco Molinari. And Paul Bertini won $200 on put in $200, got back $3,800 on Francesco Molinari. So, viewers of the show, having a good week.
Yeah. And I always like when I see those big, like the big Molinari tickets, or the big winning tickets that you could tell are on like street books.
Yeah.
Like taking that book
and of course, Russ, the NYC punter, was all in on Molinari as well. You and him are just riding heaters.
Incredible. And I got to give it like a double shout out to Gup for another incredible week. I don't know. I got to hang out with Gup at the Honda in Florida. Pure class. That whole Gup's Corner team, man, they roll out great work. They roll out great work. So it's awesome that he's coming on with you. And Gup really is like good people. And I'll tell you, he wins a lot and he gives back a lot. He's blessed and he shares the wealth. He's a special guy.
All right, so we've got some news before we get into the odds here. Sung Kang is a cheater, according to Joel Dahman. And it got him an Open Championship spot by his T2.
Okay. NYC punter wrestling, I won't keep hyping him up, but he made the greatest point to me. For years, This tour allowed some jabroni at home to call in a number and make a complaint. But a man right there with Sung Kang, his playing partner, makes a very clear violation observation.
Okay. That's what Joel Dahman says. I didn't see the drop. Did you? Did anyone see it?
No, but why can we take some guy at home over the word of a playing partner?
Because if anyone is phoning it in from home, which you can't do anymore, because they saw it on TV, there's video evidence of it. So no one saw it. And Dahman said he argued it, and he said no.
What makes Sung Kang think he can play by that exclusive Mickelson and Spieth rulebook?
I don't know, but I like it.
Of course you do.
I love it. I would be cheating so much if I was on the PGA Tour until I finally got caught.
Okay, here's also the
quick foot wedge. Oh, no one's falling around Pat Mayo.
Here's the great thing about the PGA Tour. Well, because it's an individual sport, like, you could be a bad guy. It's not like you've got to keep your place in the league by sucking up to LeBron James. Being like one of his guys gets you on his traveling shows. Yeah. Or, you got to be like a team player because you're bad for like a locker room, or the best players on the team. Rory McIlroy, just as an example, doesn't like you around. Well, that doesn't matter. If you got the game, you could stick around and go anywhere. And you could be a sour apple. And, that's sort of what endeared me in many ways to Patrick Reed. I'm not calling him a cheater. I'm not going there.
Well, other people have called him a cheater, so.
Well, in other areas of life. I don't know about on the golf course.
I believe the people, where was he before Augusta State? Was it Georgia, Alabama?
Yeah, he got kicked off of Georgia.
Yeah, I think his playing partners accused him of cheating.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And cheating, watch stealing. Woo! Nonetheless, if your game plays and you get the points and you can qualify, it doesn't matter what you are. But I don't know, good for Joel Dahman. And why would a playing partner get that angry about something when you see these guys not care? So in my opinion, I'm with Joel here.
Well, maybe Joel Dahman was just riding the heater because he got a lot of press, doubled his Twitter followers on the weekend after lipping Tiger, and the Tiger tracker got all butthurt by it. And then he wore a bucket hat on Saturday. Yeah. Now he's out here calling people cheaters. Maybe we need to bet Joel Dahman this week, who is playing decently here.
We need, Golflandia's got to get on, a Dahman interview.
His caddy is on Golflandia tonight.
Fantastic, because that was the first thing I, tweeted Wiley, you got to book this guy.
So
great stuff. Good.
There is a solution to all this problem, because someone tweeted me, the Washington Post reported, talk out of the Quicken loans is that the PGA, because of the legalized gambling and the influence of daily fantasy sports, is considering, quote, something like the red zone for golf. Listen, they can take my idea all they want. They just need to fucking do it. I don't want to have to be waiting 10 years from now and this still isn't a thing. Also, if people are out there, tweet at the PGA that you want you and I to host that.
Oh,
that would be just fantastic.
Let's go.
It would have to be an internet-only theme, and someone said it has to be at least PG-13.
That's fine.
So I can smoke in the booth and do stuff like that.
That's fine. Yeah, great on Joel. And I guess I want to say one more thing about last week, and I texted it to you last night.
Was it about Rahm melting down on that one hole?
No, because he did, and I gave him credit for how he did something on Saturday. He deserves some shade for that, but I don't know. I still love
Sergio melted down, too.
I love the warrior
Surrey
in
melted
him.
down.
Brooke Henderson broke a wedge yesterday. I know you don't care.
Kick her off the tour.
But I loved it.
What a loose cannon.
I loved it. I mean, it almost snapped. It did snap in half and almost smashed her sister.
CT Pan smashed his driver. Then he had to go 3-wood and went birdie, 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 birdie.
Sergio is worrying me in that, he's playing great, but he's got explosions, everywhere, kind of.
Yeah, that's not good.
That old Sergio that, can always play well, but, imploding himself worries me. The greatest thing, nothing makes me happier, kind of, is when I can hit a winning ticket and Tiger plays fantastic. That, just warms the soul. And it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, well, I mean...
It's coming.
Well, for people who don't know, Jeff and I are both Canadian. Today is actually a day off in Canada. Yeah. And so we came in to do the show. I really feel vacations, always a day off, a statutory day off, unless it falls on a certain day. Canada Day was Sunday. America Day is Wednesday. So I get Wednesday would be off. But where it was Sunday, they should just move it to Friday. Monday should never be off. I know people hate Mondays, But Monday is such a good source of getting ahead for the week. And then people are basically checked out on Friday anyway. Give yourself the long weekend that way. I hate Monday holidays. In fact, I hate people taking holidays anyway. But that's me. Feels like a very communist thing to do. And I'm no communist, Jeff. Or people who hate their jobs. I also don't hate my job. I like coming in.
Yeah.
So, anyway. So we're here. We're doing this. Going into Sunday, I actually thought that, because I made a deal with NYC Punter, that Molinari could win as long as I had Gay, I had Streelman, I had Armour, I had Merritt, and I had each ways on the mall. So I put 3 of those guys inside the top 5. You know, we're good to go here. Only Armour actually got there, but could have been a really big weekend without hitting a winner. It was kind of surprising. So I know we're never going back to that course again, but besides Molinari, like it was a scrub leaderboard until Tiger finally made a charge. Like Leishman popped up, but he was never in contention. Fowler had a good Sunday.
The only guy, I guess, that after Molinari, the closest in terms of the odds board that
Tiger
was blowing down his neck, Tiger, but even Hostler got closer than Tiger at times.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not comparing them in terms of odds. And there's another thing. Hostler, every point matters these guys. Getting into the Open Championship. That Sun Kang thing gives him a T5.
I thought Hostler did get in.
Unconfirmed. I saw something, but someone...
It's the top 4 from the tournament.
I know. Apparently before last...
Answer, Armour, Kang, and whoever was next. Actually, I think it might have been Burgoon.
Anyhow, these little things matter. And it would have given Tiger a T3. Not that he needs the extra money or anything, but let's get him to Bridgestone.
Well, there was the guy who does like the world rankings projections.
Enough.
This was the first week of Olympic qualifying for Tokyo. Tiger on Team America right now. Team America is the guy who won on the Web.com tour. Tiger, Ryan, Armour, and Surrey. That's your American team. If it was to stop right now, we have another 2 years to go, but this was week 1. That's Team America.
Good.
Do you think Tiger play in the Olympics if he makes it?
I don't think he'll make it.
I don't think he'll make it either, but do you think he would play? I think they'll all play this time. After
Yeah,
seeing how well it went.
it went well, and the Zika thing won't be a thing in Japan. I mean, they love golf. They love it. It won't be... It would be less of a gong show that Brazil was, where people were there that literally had no concept of the sport.
Yeah.
Remember that, kind of? I mean, there might be some of that in Japan, but exponentially less of that than in Brazil, in my opinion.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
All right, Greenbrier. Let's do this.
Ugh.
It's now like some really like salute the military Greenbrier.
But did they ever have a sponsor?
It was the Greenbrier. Greenbrier's the sponsor.
That's what I mean. It was never like a title, like corporate sponsor. But now they're putting this military tribute at the Greenbriers.
At the Greenbrier, yeah. But the Greenbrier itself is the sponsor. Like the compound. It's like advertising for the resort. A ton of people live there.
A lot of guys.
Bubba lives there.
I don't think they live there. They own
property, yeah. Remember this course was underwater 2 years ago, too. They had to cancel the
event. Yeah.
So they rebuilt all the greens and around the greens as of last year. But Tee to Green, it didn't really play all that much differently. It kept the same yardage. It's a par 70. It's just under 7,300 yards. A lot of par 4s. That's where you do your damage. And we've seen a shitload of just garbage winners at this event over the years.
Danny
Lee, Scott Stallings,
Potter.
Stuart Appleby, Ted Potter.
Xander's breakthrough.
Xander breakthrough last year.
Better ceiling than those guys.
There was someone else too.
But I bet you it was a big number. What was Xander paying?
Last year? I forget. I think it was like 80. Because he was coming off the good US Open.
But that's sort of, okay.
I have it written up in my column this week. I don't know if the column is out on dkplaybook.com yet. It's submitted. Not sure if it's out, but like I looked at the top 25 in terms of total strokes gained over the past 5 years. Ted Potter has the most strokes gained at this event, which is absolutely hysterical. But it's also like George McNeil and just losers. I always equate this tournament to give a hard look to good web.com guys. Because this tournament, it's like the winning score is going to be anywhere from like -12 to like -20. Birdie Fest. Like the PGA Tour, while there are Birdie Fests on it, this one, it seems where the field is so much weaker. Like it's not an early field event. Like even Career Builder gets a lot of good people. But we've just seen time after time, like 3 rookies have won this event since it started in 2010. Like if you're used to like playing, like I think someone on the web.com tour this week shot 4 rounds in the 60s and they lost by 14 strokes. Like that's all the web.com is. It's just go out and make as many birdies as possible. And that's what you need to do here. Birdie or better percentage is huge. Tee to Green as sort of a balance is huge. It leans a little bit approach, but it's not significantly tailored to one specific facet. As like a few weeks ago, like strokes gained approach was 6 times more valuable than around the green. This week it's less than double, at least among those who come inside the top 20. Got to putt a little bit, score on the par 4s, make the easy par 5s, but they're easy fairways to hit. The bombers can just bomb it out there and flick a few wedges. If you're good from like 150, you can be a shorter hitter. Any skill set can win here. So I think your best look here is at the longer odds guys. And a lot of people are looking ahead to the British Open right now too. So that would be my take on it.
I am so last week's field might have been worse.
Last week's field was for it.
But this field, the odds board enthuses me a lot less than last week.
So,
I mean,
in terms of the faves, here's what we got. We got Finau, 11-1. Tony Finau is 11-1 to win this tournament. Wait.
Okay.
Phil is 16. Bubba is 16. Webb is 18. Henley's 20. The X-Man is 22. Neiman is 28.
Okay, we got to start at the top. Tony Finau, I'm ride or die, but you can win without me, friend. Go win without me.
Not even parlaying him up.
Not even. I do. If I can't, I don't care.
Who do you think?
Even with the bankroll, even with things have been going well, I don't care.
It's a bit overpriced.
I'll say this. I think, and put it in my face, because I'd love to get this, real win out of the way for Tony. Although it will just hurt.
Maybe he'll win the British Open.
You know what? I'd prefer him not to get the win out of the way. Because I like when we're at full fields and we can still, because when it pops, it's going to pop.
Yeah, we can get him at 70 and
real fields player, huge big name events. So I actually hope he doesn't win. But if he does, all the power to him. I think this is equal or more off base than Ricky's number last week. And I love both those guys. You watch this show, I almost bet them willingly. Just because the win equity that Finau brings to me is even lesser than Ricky Fowler's. But Ricky Fowler, I guess you could argue Finau might be better. He's playing better. But
well, this field is better, so that helps.
So to me, it's equally off-putting.
Yeah, I'm not betting Tony Finau at 11-1.
I never thought this day would. If you told me when we did the show at Christmas to break down the year, and someone had a crystal ball and said we'd be at Greenbrier and Finau's 11-1,
and he hasn't won.
I just stood up and said, U.S. Open champion Tony Finau. What else could have caused that?
It's like they're giving him credit for winning the U.S. Open just because he did well.
That's essentially what would his odds be if he won the U.S. Open?
Probably the same.
I love you, Tony.
Here's the question.
I love you. And Team Nike is on a heater across the world, so you can add to it. But we've just said enough.
But Bubba's here. Bubba's won 3 times this year. This is not a Bubba track. He's never won here. I'm not betting.
He does live here. He is one of those players we speak about with the house that would have.
I have a distinct feeling Bubba comes here every year because he likes the country concerts that go on. It's like a whole production this week.
And
he never has he makes the cut every year, but it's like T37.
And Bubba doesn't. I'll say this, to your point, Bubba doesn't own a property here because of the golf course.
Yeah.
Because the area is beautiful, the mountains of West Virginia, the activities for his family. I'm sure it's just exquisite. I know people that drive down the East Coast, Florida every year, that love doing outdoor activities. And I just stress, just look up this Greenbrier place. Because if you're driving to Florida, it's half the way.
2,000 feet above sea level, by the way. That's how some of these shorter hitters can make it up a little bit. Even Danny Lee was talking about that the year that he won, he took 3 wood off a lot of tees and just went at it. The ball carries a little bit further. He was able to get to the spot that he likes the most. But with Bubba Watson, as much as Bubba hasn't won at this course in the past,
he's Bubba Watson.
He's won 3 times this year and is coming off of a win. Yet he's 16-1.
He's the current front runner for PGA Player of the Year, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
I'm not betting Bubba.
No, but what? Why is he 16 and Tony Finau's 11? Maybe the books know something. Maybe the books are we know. We're from the future. We know Tony is winning this
I
week.
get it. Tony Finau does feel like, a volcano that's about to explode. And a Molinari-type victory, just feels imminent. But I just need it to hold off. Because like you said, this can't happen because I need the full field numbers to stay strong.
Modeling-wise, of these top guys, when you run the stats through and look at recent versus long-term form, do you know who the 3 guys the model likes the best of everyone under 30 to 1?
Russell Henley.
No, actually. It likes Henley. Actually, sorry. Russell Henley is one of them. Russell Henley would be 3rd on that list of who the model likes.
Xander?
Nope. Xander long-term rates out better. He's also the defending champion.
See, like, because you're asking me, I'm trying to not guess the top guys.
It's Phil by far.
Okay, makes sense.
Who rarely plays well here, by the way. He plays it like every year.
Again.
You see all the stupid like falconry
I
shots
assure
with Phil.
you, Phil Mickelson.
And he's Andercursed this week. Tim is finally going in on Phil for the first time this year.
Phil Mickelson, like Bubba, doesn't own a property here because of the golf course.
No,
it's an added feature.
It's probably the casino that's also on the compound.
Sure. And you know what's fun about this week, although no one really cares probably, is Nance owns a huge property here. No, not Nance. Faldo.
Faldo usually plays in this tournament.
And he throws a big party for the whole crew.
So guys that actually live on
CBS crew. Yeah.
Guys that actually live on this course. Faldo, Tom Watson, Bubba Watson, Webb Simpson, Phil Mickelson. There was someone else too. Kenny Perry lives there. John Smoltz lives here. Some NASCAR driver lives here. Pete Sampras lives on the compound. They all have property.
And again,
put it this way: the name of the course, the Old White TPC. You can probably guess who lives on the course.
Yeah, Old White.
So the answer to the question was Phil was the highest rated, Neiman was second, and Henley was third. I have interest in Henley and Neiman at this price.
I want to do a bit on Neiman, but Webb, was this where Webb was like the Chalk City and he hurt himself playing
in the pool? Yeah.
Did he withdraw, or this was like after round 1 or something?
I forget, but he didn't play well that week.
Yeah.
He either withdrew and screwed everyone. And I went back and looked at, what's finally turned for Webb here over the past few events? The putting.
Well, the putting's been hot forever. Like, even going back to Phoenix. Or no,
the putting was hot all year.
Yeah. And then it popped.
And then it popped at the Players, and he was just untouchable. Fort Worth, -3. U.S. Open, we don't have the stats. I assume it was good since he came inside the top 10. Travelers, -2.5.
Sorry, you're saying it's gone away.
It's flipped back the other way.
Neiman, let's have this conversation. Because I'm in on the Wonder Kid, and outside of Saturday, he had a fantastic week, did he not? He went backwards in a big way Saturday. I don't exactly know what happened, but I thought he played 3 very strong rounds and, again, left some stuff out there.
Here's the thing, that if I'm going to talk about downside with Neiman, and it might not come into play this week because he might pull the Molinari, and hey, I don't need to scramble. But since he started, he actually played this tournament last year and came 29th, by the way. That was his. He played the U.S. Open, then he played this, and he didn't. So,
pardon my ignorance. Is he a web.com though? He's just straight from the
straight from. He got the special exemptions because he was the #1 ranked amateur. He just kept. He's earned enough points to get into all these things.
It's like John Rahming it.
However, since the Masters, so starting at Valero where he came 6th. Even when he came 6th, he lost 2 strokes around the green. Lost around the green at Wells Fargo, missed the cut. Lost around the green at Byron Nelson, missed the cut. Pushed even at Fort Worth, came 8th. Lost 3 strokes around the green at Memorial, came 6th. Lost half a stroke at St. Jude, missed the cut. Lost a full stroke last week. It doesn't seem like around the green is really going to make that much of a difference this week. Like, you don't want to be losing to. But, like, Ted Potter's a historically, like, really shitty around the green player, and he's gaining strokes. And he's won this event before and does well here. That I think this is the spot for Neiman. My card might start with him. It's him or a few of the guys right after him. And I start looking at it like, in your mind, who has a better chance to win this event? Joaquin Neiman at 28 to 1 or Charles Howell III?
Joaquin Neiman, just because I have just that, I'd rather bet Joaquin Neiman.
In the year of guys who can't win winning, Howell is another model guy this week that is just out of control.
Well, he is a model guy.
No, not really. He's been playing exceptionally well.
He has been. I'll give that a stare. I don't know. I don't really like anything near the top, so maybe I could play both of them. But I got to suck up my pride to bet Charles Howell III.
So Howell leads off this next level. He's 30 to 1. So is Harman. So is Jimmy Walker. Then you have J.B. Holmes and Ryan Moore at 33. Na, Lee at 40. Snedeker, Streelman, 45. Keegan, Lovemark, 55. Then you got your 60s with like Brian Gay Aaron Wise, Patrick Rogers, Putnam, Ryan Blom is 66. But then, like, Kisner's 66, Chappell's 60, Lahiri is 60. Lahiri did lead the field in strokes gained putting last week. That's how he was able to keep up with the Joneses. But
do you know how many?
I don't even know if this part of the odds intrigues me. Does it for you? Like, really? Like,
the first name that I think you put the sheet in front of me, I said Putnam Andrew. Seemed
bet
exciting. I haven't bet it yet, but Lahiri last week, every time I casted him, because I had him all over my DraftKings.
He was the king of the native area?
Not only was the king of the native area, but it was 14 feet for par, and he was hitting a lot of them. Like, I'd be shocked when I scroll back, like, whoa, he didn't drop on, like, he's still at -4. He's not at -3. And I'd look, oh, he hit that putt. I don't know. I could be sold on Lahiri. I'm a little annoyed that it's
put it this way. I mean, maybe it's just I'm not a Lahiri guy, but at the guys of 60 to 1 right now, I'd much prefer
Kisner and Putnam.
It might be Putnam and Gay. Gay is playing well, man.
I know. He really is.
He had a bad Sunday. That was it.
I don't know. I don't want to say something that's going to come back and eat me next Monday.
Was it that Pride Month is over, so Brian Gay can no longer win?
No, no. I just look at this, and I got so much more confidence
in Chappell,
in a kid, a young guy, like just playing great, than this 19-year veteran finally like winning for the
He's won 4 times on tour
since. I
don't know.
That's what I mean.
He has 4 PGA Tour wins.
Fantastic player, fantastic career. I don't underrate for a moment. We do this show every week, Pat, and we're trying to talk about who's going to win. So by what we're trying to accomplish on this show, there's a lot of players we don't talk about. I have beyond respect for everyone on these lists that maintain their card. And I ain't talking about an Ace Hardware membership card.
So you're not betting Hunter Mahan this week?
No, I'm talking about every single one of these guys that have a PGA Tour card, to me, are out of this world. And for Gay to keep it for so long, remember last year it was his wife that did the math. I mean, everyone talks about because Poulter's sort of gotten back to form. It was Gay's wife that did the math that figured out, hey, we should still be here.
And they both got in. So there's two names that I overlooked among the winners here. Historically. So Xander won last year. There was no event the year before. Danny Lee won in a playoff against. Streb has come second the last 2 times it's been here too. But Danny Lee beat Hearn, Danny or Streb, and like someone else in a playoff at 13 under 3 years ago. Angel Cabrera won the year before. Jonas Blixt, Ted Potter, Scott Stallings, and Stuart Appleby. Like, it's hard. Just looking at the winners, you can say it's going to be someone from this part of the list that's going to win. Just based on past success, and that's not necessarily predictive by any means. But I feel like these guys in the back end take it more. They're trying to get into like the top 4 spots again this week, get into the British Open. It's an easier course. You can get in and get your tour card. You can get a victory here. Like, I just don't think Phil's feeling it. He's there to party.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. And I'll say this, of all these guys, because I mentioned to you off air that little annoyed last week we did the show. Neiman was 40 in a weaker field. You know, this field's stronger. He starts at 28.
And he closed at 25 last.
Okay, so the books are like seeing, you know, even though they might not know who the guy is, they're like, oh, we got a lot of tickets this guy never heard of. I get it. But last week, Andrew Putnam closed at 66, and he's still flirting in the same number, and I like everything I've been seeing from him.
He lost strokes with approach last week, so he did this a few weeks ago. He went gain big, lost. Gain big, and last week he lost. But he's still, I believe he's reeled off 11 straight cuts, or maybe 9 straight cuts, 3 top 10s. He came second DJ. I just think if you're going to be at these like par 70s on bent grass, just keep firing away Andrew Putnam. He's close, and like he's either going to pull the Chez Reavie, he's going to crash and burn, and just like, you know, finish dead last, or he might break through here. Like, this is a field where we talk about like web.com grads, and no one is more web.com graddy than Andrew Putnam.
I don't know. He's a guy that I feel really strong about, and like you already alluded to, just in terms of win equity and name value, Chappell and Kisner.
I don't know. I think I would rather take the plunge on Chappell, and I might do it. It seems too low. And he's been garbage.
Horrible. We see life
at the U.S. Open.
Oh, that was so weird. Yeah, he's been really bad. But I think I could suck it up.
Yeah, he was 65th at the U.S. Open because he just ended up fading on the weekend.
I think I could suck it up.
Suck it up for 60-1?
Yeah.
I mean, we were betting him at 33-1. There's
times when I listen, you can make any case you want to talk yourself into a bet, but there are times I can ignore form for a number against certain members of the field.
I mean, it's led to a lot of value. Like, I'm actually on Davis Maddox's TakeCast podcast. I believe it's going to come out tomorrow, but we were talking about the Willett thing. And then we never thought Willett was going to win the Masters. We just saw what his ridiculous odds were. We're like, those odds are wrong. And that's half of this. Like, Chappell's odds, are they wrong? Maybe not. Maybe he deserves to be 60-1. But in terms of, talent, if he had come in with better form and his name was Kevin Chappell, he'd be the same price as Russell Henley.
Yes. And there are two ends to this, because I absolutely agree with you, and what you're saying almost goes on, the punter's creed. It's been a nice few weeks for punter as well, but he always stresses that and I can buy into the fact that, he's looking for where the book is wrong or where the book is weak or where you can take advantage, and that's almost good enough for him. For me, it's a two-edged sword. It's got to be a part of that, but if I don't think you can win, I don't give a shit.
Fair.
I don't give a shit. And yeah, Danny Willett can win the Masters. I don't know, but I knew the number was wrong, and I watched him hit 8 to 15-foot putts with such confidence all fall and winter. And I'm like, this guy, I don't know, has something special. But I also will say I wouldn't have made the bet if I didn't,
think he could win. Sure.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting him to win, but we also knew, because even those tweets he sent out the day after that Super Bowl, so it was February, that was like, this will be half come the tournament. So just bet it based on that.
Yeah, bet it now. We know.
And that was, to the thing with Brooks and Punter being like, they're still leaving 40s. I know he's just came back, but that's going to not be 40 when the U.S. Open tees off. And there was early in U.S. Open week, it was 18. And I saw it drifted back to 20, 25. But
I even put this out there yesterday when I was watching the round in France. So, I went and looked at the book, and Noren was still 40. I was like, get on Noren 40 now. It's not going to be this number 20 minutes from now. Best take it.
And guess what? Although because Bodog is a little slow, they still got that 40. So if you want it, try quick. But I've taken it. Will Hill had the 40 yesterday morning, 25-28 right now.
It's 28 on 365.
And I saw 365 had it at it's what?
28, I believe.
Because when I went to look, it was 33. So they're even dropping it again.
It might have rebounded back up. I haven't looked.
Oh, so yeah, but still, yeah. So it's that time of year. Carnoustie.
So rest of the field. Anyone else you want to talk? Do you have any Keegan at 55? I find intriguing.
Lovemark, maybe just because I bet him last week.
Oh, did you enjoy Lovemark's back nine yesterday?
I didn't have him on draft. Once he wasn't I was amused by it because it made me relate. But he wasn't winning the tournament, so it didn't really bother me. But
yeah, Keegan is the only one there. So I bet Putnam. He's the only bet I have in from this range. I'm going to give Gay a harder look. I'm going to give Chappell a harder look. Keegan a harder look.
What about Ollie?
No,
I haven't asked.
He was putting out of the fucking rough last week.
I didn't see that.
Okay. So was Hostler. Armour, I would consider going back to. The guys that come second, Wise came second, then he won the next week. Armour's on a heater right now. He scores on par fours. This isn't the perfect setup for him, but he's a web.com guy. When he won at Sanderson Farms, keep it in the fairway, score on some par fours, don't get yourself in trouble. He could win here.
Hit some world-class pars also early in the week.
I might end up on Armour again at 70. I know it's
this
half
could be
of
a
what
Spawn core. I know Spawn peaked too early. That's
Yeah, Spawn was putting really well last week. Couldn't hit his irons, which is very atypical of JJ Spawn. But in terms of long shots, the two guys I jumped to right away, I put this out already. Brandon Hagy is back. He's 125-1. You know how much the DFS and golf betting world loves Brandon Hagy. So he suffered a wrist injury, so he hadn't played in 6 months. Came back to the web.com tour. He started twice, came T48 in his return, came T2 2 weeks ago. Guy bombs it. Guy can hit a wedge. He was T18 at this tournament last year. I like Hagy. He's 125-1. And Harkins. I might have to fade Harkins on DraftKings because I know he's going to be one of the most. He was one of those popular players last week. But if we're focusing on like making birdies, and this could be a shootout, Harkins at 150 to 1. Get your money in now because that number's going down. It might be down already. It might be at 100 by the time this ends. So get it. I got it with the top 5 at 150. I just think he's going to make birdies. He might not win. He might miss the cut, but he's put himself into a good position where we know he can go out and score, and we know he can score on par 4s and 5s. Like, if you go back and look at adjusted long-term form for Brandon Hagy, he's the best par 5 scorer in this tournament. He's better than Bubba. So those are my 2 like uber bombs. I'm give like Mullenix a look. Your main man Joel Dahmen's 125. I would just focus on the birdie makers. I'm looking at it past 20.
Seamus Power do anything for you?
No, Seamus Power never does anything for me. He did finish well last week. It's the same as like people with Answer. People are like, "Oh, Answer."
You don't want to go back to John 175?
I don't feel like this is a Johnny. Also, I'm gonna start referring to Johnny Hunt as the Riddler. I think that's a better name for him, and he should be sponsored just by question marks. Top hat with question marks.
I'm not gonna lie. The bombs.
You know what? This could be a Lonto week. Lonto loves himself some birdies.
The bombs I usually steal. Because I can't.
Every week, you know, when they show the other tours, like the leaderboards from like the Latino American tour. Yeah. You know whose name I keep seeing on all these leaderboards? It's been like 3 straight weeks now. I have no idea if it's the web.com or like the Latin America tour or the Mackenzie tour or whatever it is. Carlos Ortiz.
Nice.
He's coming back. Can't waste money on Carlos Ortiz again. That'll be good days. But yeah, from like beyond 200 to 1, Lonto. Sam Saunders has a very high birdie or better percentage. Over the past 24 rounds, birdie or better gained in this field. Phil, Wise, Neiman, Finau, Harkins, Hagy, Walker, Gay, Henley, Herman, Chappell, Connors, Poston, Taylor, Werner. Blom. And then Mullenix. Mullenix, I can see.
Hate this event.
Then don't bet it.
No, I will.
I think I'm just going to take bombs this week and try to play it the same way as I did last week. Hopefully sneak some guys inside the top 5, give myself a chance to win on Sunday. Hopefully one of the really top guys doesn't run away with it like Molinari, and boom, you got a bunch of hedge equity too. That's it for you? You got no Nick Watney love? Wes Bryan? Scott Piercy, the models always love Scott Piercy, but they especially love him this week.
It's pretty high. I don't know. I could Austin Cook.
Yeah.
I know we're going a little down. We're going back to that 70-80 range, but I don't know. Not but Han.
Han, I think, is pretty intriguing.
I'm always a sucker for that guy. I don't know.
If this is a week Scott Piercy can putt, he could win. He's lost an average of 3.5 strokes on the greens in the past 4 events that he's played.
Why is Aaron Wise 60 to 1 here?
He's missed 3 straight cuts since his win. Like, he's been brutal.
Yes, we can, yeah. That's good for you, Aaron. Good for you, Aaron.
And this is a course where he's going to get to use his driver, which is always good. Corey Connors at 150 isn't bad.
Everyone was really in love with. Where were we 2 weeks ago before where Bubba won?
Travelers.
Everyone was really high on Moore at the Travelers.
I like Moore at the
and
Travelers
now,
too.
I don't know, like very high. You think this is a sneakier spot for him?
Potentially. Like, I gave a hard look to that 30 range. Like, I don't think it would be the worst play in the world if you wanted to go to, like, quote-unquote, the top of the board, and you didn't want to take any of the long shots or the mid-tier guys, that if you just bet Neiman, Walker, Moore, and JB, like, that seems like the tier of guy that could definitely win here.
I'm into Neiman and Moore. I'm not so much into the other guys.
Moore was just killing it with approach shots until the Travelers, and then he missed the cut. But, I mean, it's 2 rounds.
Like, to me, I don't know. That's usually his game.
Yeah, if this becomes a wedge fest, then Moore is definitely in the mix. For sure. That's why he's 33 to 1.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the picks. Not much of doing this week. So the only ones I actually have locked in as of recording, because I want to talk to Gup. I want to get some more information of where people are going. I've locked in Putnam at 60 with the each way, Hagy 125 with the each way, Harkins 150 with the each way. And like I said, I'm going to be giving a harder look to that like Gay, Armour, Chappell area, potentially Keegan. And I got to figure out if I want to plunge on Neiman or Henley or Walker or JB. I might take like 2 of those guys. If I take Henley, it might only be 1. If I drop to that 30 level, I might take 2, and that might be my entire card. Just go in. Maybe I'll throw a sprinkle on, like I said, like Lonto at 225, Connors at 150, but those are just darts. Maybe better first round leader, top 20 bets. You?
Neiman, Das Wonderkid, and it looks like in that I'm not really going to touch anything until we get to that 60 range, and it's Putnam, Chappell, and Lovemark that have my attention this week, and I'm really going to look at Armour because you could be honest. We've seen a lot this year. Guys that kind of get there, they linger for a bit. It's hard. Like you're not going to predict the win, but against these other guys, you get to Sunday. I'm not talking about your sort of, your bigger hedge equity with some of your bombs, but there's still plenty there if he wants to linger. Yeah. The course doesn't suit him though, that like you said, but some form to me supersedes all.
And listen, it's not that his game doesn't suit this course. It's just his game far better suits Quicken Loans, where you need to hit every fairway or you're in the gunk. Like everyone hits the fairway here. It has the highest hit fairway percentage of any course, like during the regular season. Not like on the swing season, there's one that's higher, but Safeway.
And I'll say this:
that's a corollary course. By
those type of events with this field at the top makes me really look at a guy like Ryan Moore. Then,
so par 4 scoring over the past 24 rounds, par 4s gained, and where this is a par 70, the majority of these are going to be par 4s. Putnam, Walker, Moore, Charles Howell, Webb Simpson, Ben Crane, Ryan Armour, Neiman, Watson, Lahiri, Finau, Holmes, Wes Bryan, Brian Gay, then Corey Connors.
I could be sucked into Lahiri too.
I think I'm not going to get sucked into Lahiri. Not after that putting performance. Just not going to do it. Is he going to gain 7 strokes again on the greens? No.
And still finish? Like, what did he finish in doing that?
He had a good week. I think he had a top 20. Is that what he had?
But like, we're talking about who's winning.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like he led the field in putting and he still didn't finish.
He came 13th.
Oh, I guess he had a nice Sunday.
Yeah, he came 13th for the week. Lost.
And he had a gas can late Friday, and yeah, he played well. He's got some gas can in him, and he can always miss that 4-footer, like his famous one versus Chris Kirk at the President's Cup that could have gotten a tie, which is a win for the world.
Yeah,
that's a win.
After what happened last time at the President's Cup.
Well, sure, but that's why going into, not to say anyone was surprised the U.S. won convincingly, but that was off the heels of a very close one, so people thought, maybe. But anyhow.
Yeah, so Connors might end up on the list, but again, those are all just bombs. I'll have to reevaluate as it goes along. So if you want to use Fantasy National to separate everything you want to do, I recommend everyone go check that out, just like that video that I put up last Friday on the DraftKings YouTube page to really walk you through how research can go, like where you can start your week, what you should be looking for, how to use the mixed condition model on Fantasy National if that's something that you want to get into. But my bets will be posted on my Facebook page after the chat on Independence Day, July 4th. I'm guessing very few people tune in, but it's a good time to get your questions in because they're going to be answered. It's just me. No Reed Fowler, just me. So that'll be up there then. One and done picks of the week. You, my friend, are surging in the one and done. You've passed me in the one and done, the big one. Shaughnessy, Paul Shag hit Molinari last week. You hit Molinari last week. He's back up to 11th. You've hit 2 winners in a row. And I'm just here treading water. Beating cuss. That's about it.
So I'm staring at Neiman or Neiman?
Neiman, isn't it?
Wonder Kid for me. Wonder Kid and Moops, which is more. But since I'm convinced I'm betting the kid, we'll throw that one and done in.
All right, Neiman.
Das Wonder Kid.
Cust is taking Phil Mickelcust. So that'll be fun. Finally a spot to burn him, although he's guaranteed Phil is going to win like 5 other tournaments this year and hasn't taken him in one and done yet. This is the week that he is burning him in one and done. I mean, you can check out my cheat sheet again for who I eventually end up with, because for the purpose of the show is not the same as what I do in the giant pool because I've used different players. I'm behind in that, so I have to catch up. But Russell Henley will be my pick for the moment.
I was thinking about him, but I like to bet the guys. I got one thing to say here.
All right.
Thanks for the clowns at Bodog for leaving the 40-to-1s up at Norin while all the other books are slashing it in half. Thank you. But get a life. It's 2:15 on the East Coast. And I'm still looking at an empty golf board.
I would assume, because Bodog
is Canadian.
I also that everyone's off today.
And they're confused. They don't want to post their odds because they look at what other people are doing and they think they don't know who Tony Finau is, so they're confused why this guy's 11-1.
They have to go Google.
Yeah, so they're just doing some extra research, which is taking some time.
Very quickly, I want to hit on the Irish.
He's going to win, isn't he?
Rory?
No, that's possible. But
Finau. Irish Open, here's some of the odds. Obviously, the Scottish.
Will he be the highest priced DraftKings in your thing?
Yeah.
Finau?
Yeah. He's 11-1.
They take that? They sometimes do their own
thing. That factors
though?
Into the algorithm.
Oh, obviously.
He's a heavy favorite in this tournament. Like he's 11-1. Phil and Bubba are 16. Maybe they give it to Bubba because of recent form, but I would guess it's Finau.
Fair.
Irish Open. Rory 6.5, Rahm 7, Fitzpatrick's 20, Cabrera-Bello's 20, Sullivan's 20, Thorborn's 28, Shane Lowry's 30, Knox is 30, Peters 33, Dunn 33, Wood 35, Bjelk 35, Hautong 35, Surrey coming off a meltdown on 18, 40-1. Appy Burnrat's 40-1. That's Uline's 41. That's really strange on Appy Burnrat that he's 40-1 here. Anyway,
is that low or high?
It seems low. He was just 35-1 to win Quicken Loans. And this field seems significantly worse considering Andy Sullivan's 22-1.
You think this field's worse than Quicken Loans?
Yeah, it has two good players. There's Rory and Rahm.
Quicken Loans at Ricky and Tiger.
And Leishman.
Okay, so okay, fair enough. Yeah,
who do you think's better overall? Matthew Fitzpatrick or Mark Leishman? It's Leishman.
I guess, and then it's like Rafa and Sullivan or Chesko.
Francesco and Jimmy Walker.
Yeah.
Or Stanley or whoever.
I'm buying that.
It's equivalent, if nothing else.
So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a sucker for the Rat and maybe European events. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, this is a new course for the Irish Open. It's Rory's childhood course.
I was gonna say it's not the course Rahm
It's not it's
taped
not
last year.
No, it's not. It's a different course. So I don't really know anything about it, but did anything just kind of pop out to you, like Tani Hara?
Honestly,
I hope the spots are open here for the Open Championship. 3 spots are awarded to the highest 3 people, and at the Greenbrier, it's the 4. So it's like last week. There's a lot of incentive for some of these nobodies to get into the British Open. This is going to be one of their easiest. This field is going to be significantly worse than next week's Scottish Open for sure.
Of course, it's in a run of exciting tournaments. You might laugh at me. I'm a sucker for Uline. He's been playing well. He kind of popped a bit at the U.S. Open.
I don't think that's a terrible number for Uline. 40-1 in this field.
He's playing well. So that's something I'm staring at. Barnrat, my eyes always sort of find him.
Who was the dude?
My kindred spirit.
Who was the dude last week who should have won? Who was winning? Baroff's buddy? Kleinholt?
Oh, Steven Stamkos? I wasn't nearly as familiar with him as some other people. Marcus Kleinholt, there he is, 110-1.
I don't think that's. I think it's like Shinhult.
Oh yeah, I watched a bit. The announcer said what he prefers to be called. I believe he did enough to get his open spot.
Yeah, he did. He got into the
Good
open.
for him. And a Rolex Series payday. So props. Southgate 90 always.
Here's the thing. I don't know what this course is suited for. Like last week, I was pretty big on ball striking and guys that hit fairways. That's why I picked Knox and I picked Sharma, knowing without deep diving in. This week I have no idea.
Yeah, and then it's that fine line with Rory. You mentioned the obligations he probably has as the ambassador of this tournament.
Shane Lowry might be a look here.
What about Dunners?
I'm up money lifetime on Paul Dunn, so I might just never bet him again. I'm just going to mark him in the positive ROI column and just move on.
But I will say this with Dunn, knowing what type of course it is kind of a factor. Because there's layouts to me that sort of would suit his game or not suit his game. Rory, I mean, his first event since the miscut at the U.S. Open, but he really has been contending. Every time he goes to...
It's not his first event. He played Travelers and played all right.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. He did play all right. He couldn't putt.
Yeah. But he was all over the ball.
And he's been playing fantastic. I don't want to... Listen, this 650 doesn't feel like Ricky's 650 a week ago.
No, but Rahm's also here too at 7.
But you look at every time Rory has been to Europe, at least that I can recall, he's lost in the final group. Whether it was to Hautong or to Francesco, he just can't seem to close. I guess you could say the Masters, he couldn't find a way to have a good Sunday. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like Rory or bust in many ways.
Yeah, I'll do some reading up on it throughout the course of the week.
Cooley's got married, so I don't think he's putting out a piece this week.
Cooley's away, so on Golflandia, Wiley and Baroff will talk about the Euro Tour. Mike Miller will have stuff up. We'll figure it out.
Oh, myself.
I just might not bet it. That's always an option. I know people don't think that's an option. That could be an option.
Listen, I'm one of those people, sometimes it's not an option, Pat, but it's amazing how few they're very like-minded people out there. Not betting it is not an option.
Okay, I threw this out to Twitter yesterday more as a joke, and I'll end with this. I always watch golf without sound, 95% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it live under par or live under par?
What a loser slogan, though, right? Can we agree with that?
Sure, but both of them work. I'm
live.
Sure
it's
it's
live.
live under par? Because I thought
sure.
where you tuned in live to it and had to pay for it, it was live under par.
No, it's live under par.
It is live under par. Are you 100% on that?
I'm 98%.
Okay. Geoff Fienberg. Check him out on Twitter where he gives out winning picks at GFienberg17. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is the other one. At the PME, that's where my betting cheat sheet will be on Wednesday afternoon. Live chat, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the DraftKings YouTube channel. Plus, the Gup making his first appearance on the Pat Mayo Experience on Tuesday morning to get you ready for the DraftKings preview for the Greenbrier. Should be a fun one. Congratulations to all the winners out there. Please give the episode a like, and if you want to get in the draw for some DK bucks, your favorite play between 30 and 60 to 1. Between 30 and 60 to 1. Now, you're ineligible if you'd be like, I think Tony Finau's going to win, which shockingly, people do this every week. And they're ineligible for the draw. Leave your DraftKings handle on the YouTube comment section, or if you do it on iTunes, leave a 5-star review. Just leave your DK handle. Boom. Say something nice about the show. You are in the draw as well. Thank you for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!